I'm Roger Lipton. My full-time job today is managing an investment partnership that caters primarily to family and friends. Over 40 years ago, though, I met Harry Browne, who at the time was an author, lecturer, economist, and teacher. Harry's book sold over 2 million copies in the 70s, and they sold that many copies because he was right for all the right reasons. He foresaw the inflation that would start in the 1970s and which has continued in the decades since. Harry unfortunately died in 2006, so he can't be with us. But when rereading his books, I realized that they're more relevant than ever, and I've republished them recently. Today, the debate continues as our country over the last couple hundred years has grown from 13 small colonies to the huge industrial complex it is today. The numbers tell an interesting tale, however. Back in 1792, gold and silver were established as the only legal tender. And we remained on a primarily gold standard for the next 121 years as our country grew steadily. As you can see from this chart, the consumer price index was virtually flat over that 121-year period, with GDP growth was over 4%. Actually, there were a couple of brief upticks in 1812 and later in the 1860s, as we temporarily went off a gold standard to finance a couple of wars. But still, the 121-year period was very productive, with minimal growth in the CPI. In 1913, the Federal Reserve Bank was established, their primary mission to control inflation. But you can see their effort was in vain. Inflation, the CPI steadily upticked to 1971. In 1971, it accelerated even further, and the reason it accelerated was that Richard Nixon closed the gold window, effectively severing the remaining ties of the paper currency to the gold backing. The numbers tell an interesting story. $1 in 1913 is worth only a nickel today, and $1.41 short years ago, in 1971, is worth only 15 cents today. So a great deal of purchasing power has obviously been lost by all of us if we kept our money in cold, hard cash. As far as these books are concerned, James Grant is a world-renowned monetary historian, and he was kind enough to write the first foreword. And he said in his last line of the foreword, "Ben Bernanke, please read every word." John Hathaway, the highly successful manager of the Tocqueville Gold Fund, wrote the foreword for the second book, and in the course of his foreword he said that inflation is the essence of all government finance. If I had to boil Harry's wisdom down to one phrase, it would be that without a sound currency, you cannot have a sound, productive economy. And that's today's challenge for the politicians of our day. This is Harry Browne. I'm Roger Lipton. Good reading and good luck.